I like well-made, critically acclaimed, big-budget movies as much as the next guy. But I also like garbage. And that brings us to Crackcoon. Now, Crackcoon is, it's exactly what you would expect of a movie called Crackcoon. It's a movie about a raccoon that gets into some drugs and kills people, right? We know we've had Cocaine Bear, kind of brought it to a lot of attention in the past few years, but we've got movies like Thanksgiving, stuff like that. The just stupid animal goes crazy and kills people subgenre, right? Well, there's a lot of those out, and this one is surprisingly so much fun. I had way more fun with this movie than I thought I would. I was just scrolling through, and I saw a movie called Crackcoon, and I'm like, okay, I gotta check it out. I've been burned before. I watched Catnado, and if you've ever seen that movie sucks. It makes the cardinal sin of being boring. You don't have that problem with Crackcoon. It's the acting is not very good. The plot, well, here's the plot. A raccoon gets into some drugs and kills people. There's your plot. So, spoiler warning, just in case anybody, is worried about me spoiling a movie about a cracked out raccoon. There's your spoiler warning, because I don't know if I can really talk about it too much, because there's a lot of stuff in it that I absolutely love, because there's no reason for it to be in this movie, but we'll get into that in just a bit. The acting is, like I said, it's pretty atrocious. It follows a group of, 20-somethings. I don't know if they're 20-somethings or they're supposed to be, movie teens. I don't know. But they're 20-somethings. They go into a cabin and just hijinks ensue. And then you don't even, you can basically forget about them for a while. It occasionally comes back to them. But this movie just introduces all kinds of people. They just show up for the sole sake of being victims of the raccoon. Like there's one scene where it shows like this couple, they're on their vacation. She wanted to go to Florida, but they couldn't afford it, and they're getting into arguments, so they go out to the woods or whatever. And just one of the things I love about it so much is they get in an argument about money and why they can't afford it. And she's like, "Well, you should get a real job." And he's all like, "But a hot dog vendor is a real job." Now, like, that doesn't need to be in there, or it doesn't need to be as ridiculous as it is, of a profession to be in it. She could have picked something. They could have picked something else that was less ridiculous, but they went with that. And thank you for that. I love it. And of course, the Crackcoon comes through, kills them, and that's the end of them. We don't see them anymore. There's some drug dealers or some drug addicts that get into the drug, and they go crazy and start eating people. There is a cameo from John A. Russo in it, right? John A. Russo from Night of the Living Dead fame. He's I don't know if he's a coroner or if he's a guy working in the morgue, but he's in there, and he has a pretty decent sized spot towards the beginning of the movie, which was just kind of weird that it's in there. But there's other parts, like there's a guy in the bathroom doing his business, right? This is a horror movie, so of course the Crackcoon comes in and murders him. But they give you an overhead shot, and you see into the toilet, and you see his turds in there. Now, that's not something you see very often in these movies. Like, normally, if you get that overhead shot, they've flushed or something, or it's just not there. So I give them credit for the attention to detail here. I found that just hilarious. And there's another, this is going to turn into just a video of, hey, remember this part. But there's a part where they're in the sheriff's office, which just looks like somebody's desk in their house with a laptop. But they're in the sheriff's office, and the receptionist is answering the phone. And it's just a bunch of crazy people calling in going, hey, there's, this is going on, or there's a killer raccoon, or stuff like that. And then one guy calls up and he's like, Sasquatch impregnated my daughter. And then the lady on the phone is just like, that wasn't Sasquatch, that was Joey from the grocery store, and hangs up on him, or something like that. But that's beautiful, and it's so ridiculous, and it didn't need to be there, but it is, and I'm thankful for it. And then there's another phone call that comes through, and it's straight up just a dude doing a woman's voice, like, but it's so obviously a dude doing a woman's voice. And I love it. I love it so much. There's a cop and his wife in it, and then they're in it for a little bit. And there's one point where he's like, take the day off and do something well for you, do something to relax. So she says, okay, I'll do some painting. And then they show her, doing painting later on. And I swear to God, and okay, I'm going to demonstrate her drawing. Hang on, let me find. Okay. She draws a picture of a hot dog in a bun, right? And this is it right here. This is her artwork that she had been working on. That. See how fast I did that? That's what she was working on for all that time. It's those little things like that I just find absolutely, completely hysterical because there's no reason for it. And let's talk about the Crackcoon itself. It is obviously a puppet, right? And it is just the face on the puppet. He always looks so pissed off, right? Oh, the Crackcoon gives head to a girl in bed too. So there's the head. But he looks so hilarious. And then when you see him from like a distance, I don't know if it's very poorly CG or if it's actual animation, but it's like a drawing walking across the screen, and it's just so bad, but it's so fantastic at the same time. And every time the Crackcoon attacks somebody, it's basically this. I'm going to use this little bear here as an example, right? It's basically from off screen, somebody throws the bear or the Crackcoon, and they just do this, and then like ketchup or whatever spills out underneath. But I wish I had the job of the guy that was just throwing the Crackcoon at people. And then, like the blood splatter is clearly somebody off screen with like a bucket of red Kool-Aid or something. I don't know what it is. They just throw the bucket in the person's face. So it's kind of like Evil Dead, but just way dumber. So, I totally recommend this movie to anybody who loves these just bad movies, right? Because let's not get it mixed here. This is a bad movie. It is very, the acting is awful. There's a lot of gore in it. There's a lot of nudity in it. And it hits all those spots that I love in one of these movies. The actors and the directors themselves, or the director himself, Brad Twigg, I think his name is. But you can tell that they knew exactly what they were doing. And this movie was made apparently via Indiegogo campaign. In fact, I've got it pulled up here. Let's take a look. Yeah, Brad Twigg was his name. But just under $19,000, right? And if that is the budget for the whole movie, then these guys did a hell of a job. And I'm not even like being sarcastic here. They did a great job if it was only $19,000, because the raccoon itself is hilarious looking. The special effects, there's some good gore stuff in this. I mean, none of it is realistic. You're not going to find like Day of the Dead type gore or anything like that. But for a movie like this, it's great. And every time somebody not every time, but almost every time somebody dies, before they actually die, they have like a one-liner come out. Like one dude got eaten up, and he loved Ronnie James Dio. So he makes a comment about Ronnie James Dio before he dies. And then one woman is like, you ruined my perfect tit. But I mean, it's that kind of movie. I totally recommend it. If you like stuff like Thanksgiving or Velocipaster or stuff like that, I think you will love this movie. If you're looking for a good movie, you might want to go somewhere else. This is not a scary movie at all. This is a hilarious movie. This is far more comedy than horror, and I love it for that. This is a good movie to sit around with your friends and watch and just have a good time. So, hey, have you seen Crackcoon? And if you haven't, it's available currently. You know how these issues go. It's currently available on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it, and I highly recommend you do. Or if you want to, I want a copy. I'm gonna look on Amazon and see if there's some available, and if there is, I'll put a link in the description. If you're into bad movies like this, there's a lot worse you can do for, watching it for an hour and a half. Like I said, stuff like Catnado goes straight in the garbage can because it's boring. This one, you will not be bored. This one just flies by. And there's 2 drug dealers, right? I forgot to mention this when I was talking about the characters. There's 2 drug dealers in it that are 2 gay guys, right? Okay, cool. Normally, I wouldn't even mention that, except for one of them, his whole character is gay guy. Like, that's his whole character. He's the, like, stereotypical, over the top, just gay guy. That's his whole character. And the one thing about it is, towards the beginning and towards the middle, his shtick starts to get old. But then after a while, I actually kind of grew into it, and I really started to like him because he's like sassy, and he's obviously like, this is just a fucked up situation. And when he comes across other people and he's got to explain what happened to him, eventually he's just like, come on. Again, why do I have to keep explaining it? I need to just write a book about it. Stuff like that. He's just thinking what the audience is thinking, and I loved it. I loved it. So, yeah, once again, I say give it a watch. I'll give it 4 cracked out raccoons out of 5. I enjoyed it, and hopefully you will too if you're into this type of thing. Like I said, if you're not into these bad movies, then you might want to skip it. But if you're into these low budget, just fun movies, check it out. And if you've seen it, let me know what you think. And if you haven't, check it out and then let me know what you think. So anyway, that's it for Crackcoon. I recommend it highly. And don't forget, YouTube stuff, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you next time for another one of these horror movie reviews.